Hello, everybody. Continuing with the human reproductive system. In this video, we will study about the menstrual cycle. Menstrual cycle, for the purpose of study, we take an average of 28 days cycle in which we consider day 1 as the first day of bleeding. But it is normal to have a cycle that is shorter or longer, and it can range from 21 days to 35 days. So it comprises of two cycles, ovarian cycle and uterine cycle. That means that during these 28 days, some things or some actions are going within the at the site of ovary, and something is happening at the site of uterus at the same time during these 28 days. So first, ovarian cycle, it refers to the growth and maturation of the oocyte. Basically, ovarian cycle comprises of three phases. One is follicular phase, the other is ovulatory phase, and not ovulatory phase, rather an event called ovulation, and the luteal phase. Follicular phase start from day 1 to day 13, and the day 1 begins on the first day of the menstruation. And during this follicular phase, the primary event that is occurring is the growth or development of the ovarian follicle. At the same time, the egg or the immature oocyte, immature egg, which is called oocyte, is also developing within this developing or growing follicle. So each developing follicle produces a hormone which is called estrogen that stimulates the thickening of the uterine cavity or stimulating the endometrium for the preparation of the potential pregnancy. So remember, the growth of these follicles from day 1 to day 13 is occurring under the action of a hormone which is called FSH, follicular stimulating hormone, that is released from the anterior pituitary gland, and in turn these developing follicles are releasing a hormone which is called estrogen, that is acting on the endometrium of the uterus to prepare it for the potential pregnancy. And these maturating follicles contain uh, matured egg, which is continuously maturing with the maturation of these follicles. So the event that take place on 14th day of 28 days menstrual cycle is called ovulation. Ovulation is just an event that means that under the action of a hormone which is called luteinizing hormone, or in short form as LH, that is also being released from the anterior pituitary gland. So on the day 14th, it releases in a very high amount, that is also called luteinizing surge, and this luteinizing hormone will act upon the matured follicle, which is also called Graafian follicle, and it makes it to rupture. So the rupture of the matured ovarian follicle is called ovulation. So simply, ovulation means the rupture of the ovarian follicle, and which hormone is acting upon it to rupture? That is luteinizing hormone. So after the rupture of the this matured follicle, now it is no more called follicle, rather it is called corpus luteum. This corpus luteum, which is a ruptured follicle, now enter into the phase of luteum, which is called luteal phase. which is the third phase. First was follicular phase, then there was an event of ovulation, and now the luteal phase that begins after ovulation, means from day 15 until day last, that is the 20th day of the cycle. So it includes the development of a group of cells called corpus luteum, which produces a hormone called progesterone. And this progesterone hormone will also act at the site of uterus for further preparation of endometrium for the potential pregnancy. But now, if two things can occur, that if when the corpus luteum is formed, if within next 1 week uh, the pregnancy do occur or the fertilization does occur, then this corpus luteum will persist, and then it will form corpus luteal cyst of pregnancy, and it will keep on continuing the release of progesterone hormone that is necessary for the uh, developing embryo. So finally, if pregnancy does not occur after the formation of the corpus luteum within next 1 week, then it will regress and it will form a fibrous tissue which is called corpus albicans. And then this fibrous tissue, which is a non-functional tissue, will start will stop releasing corpus progesterone hormone from the corpus luteum, and continuously from day 21st it will keep on decreasing in amount, and finally on the 20th day the amount of progesterone is so much so less that it is not sufficient to uh, keep the or sustain the preparation that was made in the uterine cavity or at the site of the uterus to persist, uh, which occurs to receive to receive a potential fertilized ovum. So when the pregnancy do not occur, then the bleeding will start for the next cycle to begin. So uterine cycle uh, is the cycle, are the days which uh, are the days in which there are some events occurring at the site of the uterus. So it has also three phases: menstrual phase, proliferative phase, and secretory phase. During the menstrual phase, as we discussed before, that when the pregnancy do not occur after the formation of corpus luteum, the progesterone level continues to decrease, and by day 28, it decreases so much so that uh, it uh, can't establish the uh, presence of this uterine lining that is prepared for the reception of the fertilized ovum. So, in the menstrual phase, which is the first phase of the uterine cycle, the endometrial lining of the uterine cavity is shed off, and it leads to bleeding, which is very heavy during the first 2 days. And the period of menstrual phase also varies from uh, woman to woman. In some, it might be as small as 4 days, or in some, it might be as long as 7 days. Now, once the bleeding stops, the uterine lining starts rebuilding. Means the rebuilding of the uterine lining or endometrium occurs for the hope that this month the conception will occur. So, the first phase after the menstrual phase in rebuilding of endometrium is called proliferative phase, and the hormone, estrogen hormone, which is being secreted from the developing follicle in the ovary, first start to regenerate the stratum functionalis, and which is the lining of the endometrium. So in this layer, it continues to proliferate these cells and repairs a new layer of endometrial tissue, and thus begins to thicken the endometrium. And finally, the last phase, which is the secretory phase, mm, that occurs following ovulation at the site of ovary, because it needs the secretory phase of uterine cycle needs progesterone hormone for its preparation. So if ovulation does not occur uh, at the site of ovary, which commonly is seen in cases of PCOS, polycystic ovaries, a very common disease of pathology. So the ovulation will occur, then corpus luteum will be formed, and then progesterone hormone will be released, and progesterone hormone then uh, will continue to thicken this endometrial thickening, and it brings uh, a product called glycogen from the blood to be deposited within the endometrial glands, and thus during this phase the endometrium finally prepares itself for the fertilized implantation of the embryo. So if the pregnancy will occur, it will be implanted within this endometrial cavity, and then it is nutritionally maintained by the endometrium.